For 2 weeks straight, Mara Keene failed every drill, every test. She missed easy shots. She froze at doorways. She fumbled reloads, even on the obstacle course. One single flashbang made her stop cold, like someone had pressed pause on her entire body. Whispers began. Some soldiers said maybe she slipped into the program by mistake. Others believed she was dragging the team down on purpose. And in the Army, excuses don't last long. One more failure, and Mara would be out. But here's the twist. On the very day her dismissal seemed certain, a black SUV rolled up to the training range. Out stepped a Navy SEAL commander. He didn't ask for reports. He didn't ask about her scores. He just gave a sharp order, 3 words, words Mara hadn't heard in years. And those words would change everything. But before we reach that moment, let's go back. Let's see who Mara really was, and why everyone got her so wrong. The desert heat was brutal. Transport vans screeched to a stop outside the training facility. Staff Sergeant Mara Keene stepped out. Her left leg hit the ground with a tiny hitch, a limp she had learned to disguise as careful movement. Mid-30s. Unremarkable. That's how the Army had trained her to look. Plain fatigues. Dark hair tied in a bun so tight it almost looked severe. Nothing about her screamed special, but her eyes told a different story. Dark brown, always scanning, always cataloging exits and angles. The kind of eyes that never stopped working. Staff Sergeant Keene reporting for Class Bravo 12. The admin sergeant barely looked up. Room 214. Don't be late. These instructors don't care who you were before you got here. The barracks smelled of bleach and 30 years of boots. Mara picked the last bunk in the corner, back to the wall, clear view of the entrance. Old habit. Because in her world, sleeping in the wrong spot could get you killed. At dinner, she sat alone. Tray neat, movements precise, watching, always watching. 3 tables away, a group of younger soldiers laughed loudly. At their center was Lieutenant Markham, the golden boy. Perfect uniform, perfect posture, perfect teeth. Confidence came easy to him, maybe because he'd never really been tested. Next to him sat Torres, muscular, loud, Miller, sharp-eyed, sharper tongue, and Peter, skinny, nervous, eager to fit in. Markham's voice carried across the hall. Some people are here because they can still do the job. Others are here because someone felt sorry for them. The table chuckled. When Mara walked past, their voices dropped, but she caught every word. She memorized their faces the way you memorize terrain before stepping into hostile ground. The next morning, the rifle range stretched out under the burning sky. Targets at 200 meters. Easy work for advanced soldiers. But Mara's first shot went wide. Her reload fumbled. Seconds bled away as others fired smooth, controlled bursts. When time was called, her target looked like she was learning to shoot for the first time. Keene, the instructor sighed. You're going to need to do better than that. Behind her, Markham's voice cut like a knife. Guess some people's records don't transfer. Wonder what else doesn't transfer, Peter snickered. Torres cracked his knuckles. Miller smiled his cruel little smile. Mara didn't react. She just kept walking, but the whispers grew louder. Dead weight. Tourist. Broken. Then came the urban combat course, a maze of shipping containers and plywood walls. The smell of sawdust and fake gunpowder hung heavy. This should have been easy for Mara. Close quarters battle had defined her entire career. She stacked at the door, breathing steady. The signal came. She moved. Too slow. The paper target shot. The cardboard hostage before she could react. Red light. Failure. She pushed harder at the next door. Angles wrong. Muzzle too high, then too low. Her teammates marked dead before she cleared the room. Snap. Snap. Training rounds whizzed past her, and suddenly, Mara wasn't in the Nevada desert anymore. She was somewhere else, somewhere dark, somewhere real, where bullets weren't rubber and death wasn't pretend. "Keen!" The instructor's voice yanked her back. "You still with us?" She blinked, finished the run, but the damage was done. Another failure on the board. Back in staging, Markham made sure everyone heard his words. That was painful to watch. Seriously painful. Someone's going to get hurt if she keeps freezing like that. Maybe she should try accounting, Miller added coldly. Or cooking, Peter snorted. Torres flexed his shoulders, showing off his size. Whatever she did before this, it sure wasn't combat. Half the room heard them. No one stepped in. Mara quietly cleaned her weapon, checked her gear, and walked out. No reaction, no defense, but one man noticed. Master Chief Rains. He had been watching from day one. Others saw failure. He saw something else. Someone holding back. That night, as the barracks went quiet, the whispers grew sharper. Tourist, dead weight, broken, Mara lay in her bunk. Eyes open, jaw tight, her hands loose at her side, forced into stillness. No one knew the storm inside her, but Rains suspected the truth. She wasn't weak. She wasn't broken. The real question was, why was she hiding who she really was? And soon, the world would find out. The sun beat down on the obstacle course. Walls, rope bridges, barbed wire, tires. Simple physical challenges. This was supposed to be Mara's chance to prove herself. No weapons, no tactics, just strength, just determination. She started strong. Scaled the wall, crossed the rope bridge with solid footing, crawled low under the wire without snagging her gear. Her time was good, better than many, and then the flashbang. A sharp crack, a blinding flash of white light. The simulator was meant to mimic chaos, to prepare soldiers for the noise of real war. But for Mara, it wasn't training. It was memory. Her body locked, frozen, breath shallow, chest tight. Her eyes went wide, staring at ghosts no one else could see. 5 seconds, 10, 15. Other trainees sprinted past, finishing the course. Their shouts echoed. Their laughter stung. But Mara stood there, motionless, like her strings had been cut. "Keen!" the instructor barked. "Move!" She blinked, forced her body forward, finished the course, but the damage was done. Everyone had seen it. Everyone knew. That night in the barracks, the whispers changed. Less mocking, more nervous. "Did you see that?" Torres muttered. She just stopped. Right in the middle. "Shell shock," Miller said, like a professor reading from a book. "Seen it before. Usually means they're done." Peter nodded sagely. "Can't trust someone like that in a real fight. You never know when they'll crack." Markham summed it up with cruel bluntness. "She's broken. Someone needs to tell her before she gets herself or others killed." From her bunk in the corner, Mara heard every word. Her face stayed calm. But under the blanket, her fists clenched once, tight and silent. Before dawn, Master Chief Rains found her, alone, on the range. She was running weapon drills in the half-light. No instructor, no squad, just her. Mag changes, clearing malfunctions. Target transitions, every movement, crisp, sharp, perfect. Rains watched silently, and he knew. This wasn't lack of skill. This was something else, something deeper. By week 2, the bullying got worse. Markham and his crew made sure of it. "Hey, tourist!" Markham shouted at breakfast. "Planning to visit the range again. Today? Or just sightseeing?" Peter snorted. "Maybe she should stick to the gift shop. Less dangerous." Torres laughed loud. Miller just smirked. Mara's pace never changed. Her expression stayed neutral. But Rains noticed. Her jaw tightened. Just slightly. Her hands stayed loose, forced into calmness. The mask was slipping. Then came the team exercises, real tests of trust, leadership, communication. Naturally, Mara was placed on Markham's squad. Outstanding, Markham sneered when he saw the roster. Just what we needed, a wild card. The mission was a simulated urban assault. Multiple buildings, hostile actors, civilians mixed in. It was complex, demanding, the perfect place to prove herself. But it went bad. Fast. At the first building, Mara hesitated at the door. Timing fell apart. Peter rushed in alone. Simulated kill. "Thanks a lot, deadweight," he spat. "One man down." Before the mission had even begun, Markham barked orders, loud and aggressive. "Keen, stay in the back. We'll handle the dangerous stuff." She obeyed, even when those orders made no sense. By the third building, 2 more casualties lay marked. The instructors shook their heads. Disappointment was all over their faces. Finally, one of them radioed in. "Squad 4 is done. No point continuing." But they still finished the run, going through the motions of failure. When they reached extraction, Markham's face burned red. "This is exactly what I was talking about. You can't carry dead weight and expect to succeed." Torres nodded toward Mara. "Should have been obvious from day one," Miller added flatly. "The real question is, how long do we keep pretending this is fixable?" The paperwork was already moving. After 2 weeks of poor performance, Mara was officially labeled unlikely to meet standards. A medical discharge recommendation was drafted. Master Chief Rains tried to fight it, but the evidence stacked against her. The higher-ups were done. Wednesday, the notice came down. Mara had until Friday. One final evaluation. Pass it, or be dismissed. Everyone knew what that meant. It was just formality, a last test designed for people already succeeding, not for someone who had failed again and again. By Friday, she would be gone, or so everyone thought, because on Thursday, everything changed. The black SUV rolled through the gates, tinted windows, government plates. It didn't belong to anyone here. And that alone meant trouble. The vehicle stopped near the admin building. The entire yard fell silent. Even instructors froze. The doors opened. 2 men stepped out, but only one mattered. Commander Cole Maddox, a Navy SEAL. The kind of man who carried war on his shoulders. Tall, broad, a weathered face that had seen too much. Eyes that missed nothing. Every step deliberate, every movement efficient. The kind of presence that made a battlefield quiet. And he was here for one reason. The desert heat shimmered. Every soldier turned to watch. Commander Cole Maddox, the SEAL who didn't need an introduction. He moved with the kind of quiet authority that made even instructors straighten their backs. No wasted motion, no show-off. Just power wrapped in discipline. He walked straight to Master Chief Rains. "Chief," Maddox said. His voice was calm, controlled, the kind of voice people obey without question. "I understand you have Staff Sergeant Mara Keen in your program." Rains stiffened. "Yes, sir, but she's scheduled for dismissal." "Her performance has been—" Maddox raised a hand. "I'm not here to debate your assessment. I just want to see her run one more course." Rains hesitated. "With all due respect, sir, the board has already decided." Maddox leaned closer. "What if I told you she wasn't struggling? What if I told you she was holding back?" Rains frowned. "Holding back? Then why?" Maddox's eyes flicked toward Mara, who was standing at the weapons rack. To everyone else, she looked calm, but Maddox knew better. "Give her one more run," he said firmly. "Let me stand on the line. When I give her the word, you'll see who she really is." Rains exhaled slowly. Protocol said no. But something in Maddox's tone wasn't a request. "What word?" Rains asked cautiously. Maddox almost smiled. Not a word. 2. That's all it will take. The following afternoon, the stage was set. The final evaluation. Urban hostage rescue. Multiple buildings. Unknown number of hostiles. 30-minute time limit. Markham's squad assembled at the start point. Weapons checked, gear ready, and Mara Keene, quiet, expressionless, fell into place at the rear. The same woman who had failed every drill for 2 weeks straight. From the fence line, Maddox stood with his hands clasped behind his back. He wasn't an instructor. He didn't hold a clipboard, but his presence carried more weight than anyone else there. Rains stood nearby, uneasy but curious. The exercise began. From the first building, it was déjà vu. Mara's hesitation slowed the team. A hostile actor shot Peters before he even cleared the door. "Damn it, Keene!" Torres shouted. "Move like you mean it!" Miller's voice spat through the comms. "Some of us want to pass this, you know." From the observation area, it looked the same. Mara, the weak link, the failure dragging everyone else down. But Maddox, he saw something different. Her hesitation wasn't random. Her angles weren't sloppy. It was a pattern, controlled, contained. He recognized it instantly. Conditioning. Inside the second building, chaos grew. Tight hallways, dark corners, split-second decisions. Mara moved to the rear again, checking angles no one else noticed. Covering. Corners already cleared. To her squad mates, it looked like paranoia. To Maddox, it looked like programming. Then, he stepped forward. His voice cut through comm chatter like a blade slicing silk. Keen, ghost knife, execute. The change was instant, explosive, like a soldier waking up from a long sleep. 1 second. Mara was hesitant, slow. The next, she was something else entirely. Her rifle snapped up. Targets fell before they even appeared. Her body flowed through the rooms like water running downhill, unstoppable, inevitable. Markham froze mid-step. "What the—" Torres couldn't even finish his sentence, because Mara was already 3 moves ahead. Corners cleared with surgical precision. Rifle switching shoulders to navigate tight turns. Reload smooth, automatic. Target transitions so fast they looked choreographed. It wasn't just skill. It was mastery. Violence turned into art. The squad scrambled to keep up with her. Instead of dragging them down, she was dragging them forward. 10 minutes later, the course was done. Record time. The hostage was secured. Every target neutralized. No mistakes. The buzzer sounded. Not failure this time. Victory. The instructors stared at their stopwatches in disbelief. Whispers rippled across the yard. Markham pulled off his helmet, panting hard, eyes wide. "What the hell was that? How did you—" But Mara was already safing her weapon, expression calm, voice neutral. "What was what?" she asked softly, as if nothing had happened. But everyone had seen it. The impossible transformation. The hidden warrior unleashed by 2 simple words. Ghost knife. And for the first time, every soldier who had mocked her felt the same thing. Fear. The debriefing room was small. 4 walls, no windows. A place built for secrets. Mara sat at the table, quietly cleaning her rifle, her face calm, her hands precise. Across from her, Master Chief Rains struggled to process what he had just seen. "Ghost knife," he muttered. "That's not in any manual I've ever read." Commander Maddox leaned back in his chair. "It's not supposed to be. Classified program, need to know only." And Mara Keene, she wasn't just in it. She was the best of it. 3 years, operations in places that didn't officially exist, missions that never made the news. Extraction rate 100%, 0 friendly casualties. A perfect record in a world where perfection didn't exist. Rains looked at her carefully. "So, what happened? Why here?" Mara's hands paused for a moment, then continued moving. I took a hit. Close quarters. IED. Got rotated stateside, while they decided if I was still fit for duty. Maddox explained quietly. Ghost knife operatives are conditioned. They compartmentalize. They suppress. Until they hear the trigger code. It's a leash. Keeps them from going operational when they shouldn't. Rains frowned. So for 2 weeks, she wasn't failing. She was contained? Mara looked up, her voice soft but sharp. Not acting, not pretending, contained. Like keeping a guard dog on a leash. It's still a dog, still dangerous, but it won't bite until someone gives the word. Maddox nodded. The brass wanted to test her, see if she could still function in a normal unit. Thought maybe she'd lost it after the injury. Rains shook his head slowly. You saw the course. Does that look lost to you? By the next morning, everything had changed. Her discharge recommendation disappeared from the files. In its place, a new assignment. Advanced Tactical Instructor. Special Operations Training Command. Not punishment. Not demotion. Recognition. She had been tested, and she had proven herself in a way no one could deny. The whispers in the barracks died instantly. No more tourist. No more dead weight. Peters tried to apologize one evening, his voice clumsy. Look, we didn't know. We didn't know what you were capable of. Mara studied him for a moment. Her reply was calm. Most people don't. That's the point. Then why didn't you show them earlier? Save yourself. All this grief? He asked. Her answer was devastating in its simplicity. Because I wasn't authorized to. Torres and Miller stayed quiet now, watching her closely. Not mocking. Studying. Markham changed the most. His arrogance evaporated, his confidence replaced by doubt. For 2 weeks, he thought he was the best. But then he watched a woman he called Broken dismantle an entire course with impossible ease, and it shook him to his core. When Maddox left, he pulled Rains aside. She'll probably ask for a training post, Maddox said. Don't try to stop her. Why not? Rains asked. If she's that good, shouldn't she be back in the field? Maddox's eyes were tired. Because people like her have already given enough. They've lived in places you can't imagine, done things you'll never hear about. At some point, they earn the right to pass on what they know, instead of bleeding it out all over again. And with that, he was gone. No speeches, no fanfare, just silence. Graduation day arrived. Mara stood in formation, no different from anyone else. A soldier among soldiers. Quiet, steady, professional. But those who had seen her that day, those who had witnessed the switch, would never forget. Because they now knew the truth. The most dangerous person in the room is often the one you underestimate. So here's the question. Have you ever met someone who looked ordinary until the moment they revealed what they were really capable of? And if you were one of those trainees, the ones who mocked her, doubted her, called her broken, what would you feel, standing next to the wolf you mistook for a sheep? Because here's the lesson. Mara Keene left behind. Appearances lie. Strength hides, and the quiet ones are often the most dangerous of all.